Hello, of course we are not going really going to use band-aids to stop our camera dials from moving, but we are going to look in ways how to lock them and how to temporarily lock them, which I will be using as a use case video application, but you could use it in other cases. So let's look at the back of the camera. And first, of course, what the dials are we talking about? We are talking about the front dial. So basically this one, the top dial, you can also see this one at the back. Uh, this one and this one over here. So I will start out in photo mode because I want to show you that my dials are active. You can see that I'm using one here. And the first thing which you can turn on in your camera is to lock all the dials or part of the dials by really using a lock function. And the way to activate that is using the event menu. If you press it and hold it for a few seconds, you will see it will lock the dials and you can't use them anymore. Now, this will be useful in some cases, and I have used it before, but it will also be interesting later if I show you a trick that you can override it. So turn them on again, and you can set this up in the menu. So that's already one trick. So if for some reason your dials are not working, what you see, I will do, turn them on again. This symbol, you can then you know that you by mistake have locked your dials, and you can press the event button to unlock them. I think it's 2 seconds, which is a little bit irritating. That's why the other trick makes more sense. So we'll go to movie mode because that's the use case we want to talk about. And the specific use case I want to show is that in video mode, you probably want to have a fixed shutter speed, so 50th of a second, for example, or 60th of a second. And you might sometimes want to change them. The same for ISO, and also for your this third example that I put on my dials is the volume, so the microphone volume. So what I did, first I will show you how it works, is I remove all the functions from my dials in video mode, only in video mode, which you can also on most Sony cameras now set separately from the photography one. You can see nothing happens. So if I'm recording, I can't change the shutter speed by accident, but if I need to change it, I will add a quick way. So what I did is I programmed this button, so this one over here, and also the lens button as a way to enable the dials. So basically, if I press that button, it will activate my dials in a certain setting. So why is that handy? Because I have to get it in front of my face to make it workable. So of course, this hand can then press the button, and the other one can access the dial. I also put it in this case on the lens, so I can press the lens button and then change my settings with my free hand. So let me show you that it really works, although of course this is not really a natural setting because I don't have the camera in my hand, but I will use the button on the lens as an example, or maybe I can use this one. Let me use this one. You can see the front dial doesn't do anything at the moment, but the moment that I press the button, you can see that I'm now changing my shutter. So let's say I want to go from 150 to 100. You can see that I can now quickly change it, let the button go, and it's sort of safe again. Same with ISO, because now my ISO is too low. I can press the button and I can use this one to change the ISO and light up the scene again. Let it go, and you can see that dial stop working. Right? And the third one I put on there, so if I press the button, is the volume. So the recording volume, if I want to change it a tiny bit, I can do it here, let go, and now the dial is locked again. Very handy. And in this case, if you normally, I remove all the functions, which I will show you from the dials, but if you normally would already have stuff on your dials and you still want to use this trick, you can combine it, of course, with the locking feature. So if I would have locked the dials, like this. So now they are locked again. The funny part is if you override them, so by pressing the button, in this case I will use the button on the lens, you can see it will override and will still activate a different function. It also tells you which functions are in use, right? So you can clearly see if I press it, I set the shutter, which is TV, the microphone level and the ISO. And indeed, again, let me do the, you can see I can change it if I let go of the button, or this one. If I let go, it freezes up again. So you can combine these two tricks, which I think is very useful. So let's look how that is sort of set up quickly. So the first thing is on the locking. You can see that dial customization, the last option. So we are in the suitcase again. You can set up your dials. So the first trick is that if you want to use that locking feature, you can see that you can turn it on here. And you can even decide which dials you want to lock if you do the long press on the event button. I put it on all. You don't have to put it on all. And also default is turned off, so you need to turn it on. For that is not really needed for the trick I showed you about the pressing of the button, but again you can combine it, and being able to lock some of your dials can be a handy function. So I always turn it on, at least the functionality, so that the long press works. So that's the first thing. The second thing is in the same menu. So in dial customize, you can set up next to your normal dial functions. So basically you have one for photo, you have one for movie, so two default ones. You can also have three separate settings that you can program and enable by a button. So you can see in the My Dial settings, you can set up 3 sets of dials for the 3 dials that you have. So you already see that I'm using the third setting for this one. So again, that's the V1, so that's the shutter speed, the microphone level, and the ISO level, which you have seen me use. And you can see that if I activate number 3, then they will automatically become active, which is what we want. So if we go back into the menu, let me press OK. So if I go back into the menu, then of course I need to program the button for it. So that's in customize settings. And again, you can turn them on for your photo, and also for your video. I decided not to use them on photo because this use case is showing you for video. So for video only, I programmed the different buttons. Now the first thing, of course, is that in this case for me, you'll see that if let's take this dial as an example, you can see that if I go to the bottom, that the overall dial, sorry, that's not here. So let's take this one. You can see that the back dial, not sure why it's there. You see that the back dial in this case is not set to anything, so I turn it off. The same with the top dial, which I think is also in this menu. No, not this menu, but you can see that the back dial is turned off. If you go to the other setting, you can also turn the other dials off. But you also see something else here, if we move around, is that if you go to this button, you can see that if I press this button, it will automatically, during holding the button, activate this set of dials. I can also set it to the other two, of course, so I can override it with different sets, or I can toggle. And this, I've not used it, but you can imagine that you can actually have 3 different sets and toggle between them. So if you want to do some video and you want to have one setting which does different thing for your shutter, the other for, let's say, ISO and exposure, and the third one for the microphone stuff that we showed, you can actually set up 3 different setups and use that and sort of toggle between them. Or you can say, I want to toggle between the default one and one of the special ones. You can toggle them on and off. I personally feel that the hold it down is the most useful one, because that enables the trick that you protect basically your settings and that you don't press them by accident. So again, let showcase if I start recording now. But if I press the button, this one use the lens button, because the volume of the audio is not correct, I can just press it and change the volume a tiny bit, let go of the button, and the dial is protected again. I think this is a very useful trick, and yeah, hopefully this will be helpful for you, and you can use this in one of your settings. Keep in mind, part of this video is not just to show you how you can use this for video, but how you could use this in different ways. I think a few videos back I already used this kind of a trick to quickly change my AF settings, right? So put on one of the dials the AF settings, so you can quickly, by rotating the front dial in this case, different AF modes. And you can imagine different tricks that you can use in combination with these features in either hold mode or toggle mode, using the lock or not using the lock, only in video or not in video. There's lots of combinations. And I think one of the nice ways, and Sony already has more dials than most cameras these days, is that not only do you have quite a few dials, these days, but you can also quite flexibly program them for different uses. So either photography or video, or you can even say, well, I want to make them optional by, for example, using this hold down trick. So yeah, this was it. Please join our Discord and like this video, because that hopefully helps the YouTube algorithm that more people find this video. And the Discord is open that you can ask questions or give me new ideas about videos you want me to make. So thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Bye bye.